A very good afternoon, and thanks for clicking on to the Saturday edition of Logan's European Outlook. It is the 18th of December, and we continue to look at the models and the prospects of the all important White Christmas. Are we going to see a White Christmas this year across the British Isles? I'll tell you what, folks, the models are coming and going with this, and we are on a knife edge when it comes to the prospects of snow for the 3 day period, but Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and of course Boxing Day. And I think there is, it's going to be a very close call right at this very moment in time. I was planning to do a Christmas Day forecast and what were the prospects of a white Christmas, but I'm having to hold back because there is such a dynamic setup in place for the upcoming week that it is going to be an exceptionally tough call, and I'm going to have to delay that call with regards to the White Christmas prospects. Now, that is not me backing off on anything. Remember, I haven't actually said that we will have a White Christmas. I've said that that the prospects are that really from about Boxing Day through to New Year, we are going to increase the snow cover across the British Isles, and by the time we reach Hogmanay and New Year's Day, we could have a large swathe of the British Isles covered in the white stuff, and I'm going to continue to hold on to that idea. But the jet stream is going to be very active. The Atlantic storm train is going to be cranking over the upcoming week. All the while, we are going to start to see the high build northwards and northwestwards up towards Greenland here. So we've really got this battleground that the UK is stuck between Atlantic weather coming in from the west, and of course the polar continental air is going to move its way south towards the British Isles here. And exactly what takes place, does the cold air come in ahead of the area of low pressure, or does the area of low pressure come in ahead of the cold? So that is going to be the key questions here, because that will determine whether we see rain or whether we see snow or whether we see nothing at all. And the latest GFS run is indicating that, of course, and there is a pretty good consensus now that the area of high pressure gradually starts to lift northwards. It does start to partially open the door to cold air coming in from the north or the northeast. And as you can see here, as we skip through the sequence here, in the run-up to the Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, low pressure and moisture start to approach the southwestern portion of the British Isles. And like I said, the question is going to be, is the cold air in place when that moisture and that low pressure makes its approach and arrival into across the UK and across Ireland here? Now you can see here that the model does see white or purples representing snowfall across parts of the UK. What I think it's going to do is eventually that area of low pressure will pass to the east, and then we'll start to see the true cold air coming in, likely during Boxing Day. And then as that takes place, then I think cold air really starts to dig in and starts to kind of take control of the UK airspace here. So by the time we reach the middle and latter half of next week, it looks as if we're firmly in the cold air, and areas of low pressure that are present and will be present likely across the British Isles will be producing snow rather than rain across the UK here. So we're really on that knife edge, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then I think through Boxing Day onwards, we'll see the cold air becoming better established, and any precipitation will fall mainly as snowfall here, and then we get a real interest and run up to the new year here. So you can see that here, it's just a firmly cold pattern, still quite unsettled if you notice here, with areas of low pressure spinning in and around the British Isles here. So very exciting stuff indeed. Um, this is the 850 millibar temperature chart, which I forgot to actually show yesterday. I was meaning to do that, and I was carried away with what I was talking about and the models I was looking at. But milder in place at the moment with high pressure, 1040 millibars over the British Isles here. Very fascinating because we've got 0 to -3 even this afternoon down at low levels. Fog patches, very dense, refusing to let go of parts of the central belt, parts of the Glens, uh, several other parts of the British Isles as well. Yet 3,000 feet and above, we're talking about temperatures as high as 12, 13 Celsius. So really, really crazy stuff. Very interesting, very wild, very extreme in terms of seeing temperatures at that level and at that height, that altitude is pretty incredible stuff. But we are going to gradually start to see the atmosphere cooling down. It's going to take us time, especially in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. But as we press through the second half of the weekend and in the next week, we'll start to see the cold air coming down. It's going to we're going to be on that boundary between very cold and kind of moderately cold air. All the while, we've got, of course, areas of low pressure coming in from the southwest, and this is what I'm talking about here: the knife edge between cold and mild, and what arrives first is going to determine the type of precipitation that we get, I think, as we go through the 3-day Christmas period, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and of course Boxing Day. And I think, like I said before, I think really Boxing Day onwards, we start to see more in the way of snowfall, and the air becomes gradually colder and colder. And I think we are going to see, snow cover quite widely. Say for example, this day next week onwards, I think we're going to start to see colder conditions developing here. Of course, this day next week is Christmas Day. In terms of Europe, we're going to see, I think, in essence, well, certainly according to the latest model, 3 waves of bitterly cold air coming down from the Arctic here, and that is very interesting indeed. So you can see here, as I go back to the current period, you can see here that we see the first wave of bitterly cold Arctic air coming down. High pressure to the west, low pressure to the east opens the door through Scandinavia, through Western Russia, right down into Central and Eastern Europe. We've got the core of cold air. That kind of dives south, then it kind of there's a secondary wave of bitterly cold air that comes down, and then I think it's the second into the third period here. You can see that the GFS has some of that core of cold, if you will, start to slide into the British Isles and Ireland here because of low pressure coming down from the north and then kind of pushing kind of south and southwest. In that direction, of course, that is pulling air in more from an easterly direction as opposed to the north or the northwest. So very, very interesting indeed. Finally, let's have a look at the snow prospects here. And of course, over the next several days, no snow to speak about. But as we push towards Christmas Eve, you can see here that we are going to start to see snowfall. Now, this is, of course, the latest GFS. There is going to be chopping and changing. Like I say, very dynamic situation in place. The models having a hard time, seeing exactly how things are going to pan out. But notice here, by the time we reach the Thursday the 23rd, so this is, of course, the day before Christmas Eve, you can start to see snow developing here. This is, of course, snow depth across North Wales, the Midlands, and even towards East Anglia. We've got a swathe of snow here, and then it's during the course of Christmas, later Christmas Eve and then the Christmas Day, we have got snow developing here across north of England, southern Scotland, central belt of Scotland, and the South Highlands here. And then as we press through Boxing Day onwards, notice here how the UK starts to see a more widespread snow cover across the country here as we press towards the New Year period. And this is, of course, on Friday the 31st, Hogmanay, and certainly that would be very interesting to say the least here. So In the next couple of videos, I'm going to continue to look at the scenario for Christmas and towards New Year. As well as that, I'm also wanting to look at some of the longer range stuff because it looks as if the cold air will try to maintain itself during the first half of January. So it looks as if the cold may kind of lock in for a period of time once it does arrive around the Christmas Day period here. So interesting stuff. Keep it right here on YouTube at marfoganweather.com. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hope you have a great one. Back again tomorrow with more. Bye for now.